Hey everyone, it's Michael GoosebumpsFan, and today we're going to be talking about a thing that is like Goosebumps, and that would be Stephen King's It. Now, I did the book yesterday, or last night, whatever you finally saw the video at, and this is the first movie adaptation that was ever made of Stephen King's It, the novel, that's like 1,100 pages long in my copies. This is a TV miniseries that came out in 1990, and I love it. Yes, I said the word love it. It's great. It's so great, and it's such a good B-movie feel, you know, if you love cheap, like, 50s and 60s, crappy horror movies, or, like, crappy 80s films like Troll 2, if you love that kind of stuff, this is gonna be for you. This is the film that scared everybody when we were all kids, and I mean everybody as in younger people like myself. When this film came out, I wasn't born yet. I wasn't born for 4 more years, and I remember all of the times that I would be watching this film on TV. Now, mind you, I grew up on horror. I love Halloween. I've been watching Halloween since I was probably like 8 years old. And I loved horror growing up. And yet, I remember one of the first times that I ever got ready to go to my dad's house when I was probably like 10 or 11 or 12. And this movie came on. And I saw the beginning, where the younger brother Georgie talks to Pennywise the Dancing Clown, played by Tim Curry, wonderfully, in the sewer, talking to the little boy as he had dropped his little paper plane down the sewer. And Pennywise, of course, is some kind of clown person, may or may not be human. I think everybody by now pretty much knows that he's probably not human with all the abilities that he has, and we'll get more into the story in a moment. But this film, that scene of him trying to lure Georgie into the sewer is so horrific, and it's so scary. And yeah, Tim Curry's version of Pennywise is not exactly like how Pennywise is in the book, but I love Tim Curry's version. I actually like this film better than the book, better than both of the film adaptations, even though I haven't seen it. Chapter 2, I can already tell this is better in my opinion. I just love the movie. I love every single person who's casted in it. I love it, whether it be the adults, like John Ritter plays my favorite character, Ben Hanscom. The little boy who plays Ben is also fantastic. It's just filled with so many people who contribute so much to this miniseries. It's like a short 3-hour, close to 3.5 hours long movie. It premiered over 2 nights, and it's so great. I love it so much. And the way the miniseries is actually formatted is just like how the book is formatted. And I'll kind of fill you in more on some more things as we talk more about this actual little movie, miniseries, whatever you'd like to call it. Essentially, it is about, and this is why I'm going to start tying it back to how it's a Goosebumps type thing. It actually starts out with young kids in the 50s. It might be the 60s, actually, according to this miniseries, because it's supposed to be, you know, when they're kids, and then when they're adults, we see what happens with them when they come back to Derry, Maine, where the film takes place. 27 years later, they come back and stuff. But we follow the kids as they are trying to stop this monster creature thing. All these kids come together and become friends over time. And they know about this thing called Pennywise the Dancing Clown, played by Tim Curry, like I said. And he's terrorized all of them each individually, and they don't really know why, aside from him just wanting to kill them. Apparently he feeds off fear, whatever this creature is. And he doesn't realize, I guess, that he got them to become friends. And the power of their friendship kind of helps them get closer to taking this thing down. And they have to build up their bravery as a group to go after this thing. And of course it lives in the sewers, like I said. And I love the movie. I think it's fantastic. I don't care which portion we're talking about. Yeah, part 2, the second half of the film, is not as great as the first part is, but I think the only thing that holds the second part of this film down is the finale. And there's reasons for that. I can't really go into that because I don't want to spoil it for you if you haven't seen it. But I highly recommend it. But I think every kid that has seen this video is probably not ready to see this film. I don't think you are. Again, this is a Goosebumps-focused channel. There's a lot of different people here, whether it be men and women who are my age that grew up on Goosebumps and horror movies and everything else, or it's younger folk who have found my videos from the newer Goosebumps books that I've reviewed and talked about so far. I don't know who to recommend this film to, because I think it's much more for adults, but adults think it's stupid. You know, everybody I talk to that's my age thinks it's a terrible movie, and for some reason they like the remakes better. For whatever reason, they're not very good. Bill Skarsgård is amazing. That's about it, but I said the word it. But this movie has so much to it. Again, it has the formatting of the actual novel itself from Stephen King. It feels like Stephen King wrote it, and they might have, I don't know, but it feels like the way Stephen King wrote the book. It feels that same tone, that same atmosphere. The things that I want cut out of the book, like the horrible controversial scene we won't talk about word for word, but people know what I'm talking about when I talk about Stephen King's It. It's not in this film. That's great. The finale, like I said, gets a little wonky. But I love the formatting of the film. I love how we go back and forth between people as adults, 27 years after this event, of going after this clown down in the sewers, them having flashbacks to those memories of being kids, and the nostalgia that fills into this. If you love movies like the Stephen King film Stand By Me, based on the short story The Body, or novella The Body, from his book Different Seasons, it's a collection of novellas. If you love Stand By Me, the movie with Kiefer Sutherland and River Phoenix and all of those folks, this has that same feel to it. Again, Stand By Me is a better movie. But I love this movie too, and I love how it feels like that. I think the music is amazing in this film. It's so great, especially in the nostalgic moments. You have things like It's All Right, that old 50s and 60s song. It's so good, man. The characters writing themselves, I think the dialogue works so well, especially amongst the kids. You have Seth Green in here. You know Seth Green from Chicken, just call it Chicken. Robot Chicken and Family Guy and all of that. I love Seth Green, one of my favorite comedians of all time, one of my favorite comedy actors of all time, and creators with Robot Chicken, because I loved Robot Chicken when I was growing up. But again, John Ritter plays the adult Ben Hanscom. I love John Ritter. I'm a huge fan of Three's Company, so you know it's one of the funniest comedies I've ever seen in my life. I highly recommend it if you haven't seen it. The only thing that I have to complain about with any of the adult cast is Bill's haircut. Bill, when he grew up, he became a writer, a famous horror writer, very much like Stephen King himself, and his haircut is the ugliest man bun type thing I have ever seen in my life. He literally just has like a mullet, but it's like not a mullet, but it has a ponytail. It's awful. It's so absolutely awful and embarrassing. But it was the 90s, man. We all had fun. This film alone, in my opinion, proves to me how wonderful the 90s were, especially because of how much this film scared me, even in the 2000s when I was a teenager and stuff. This film utterly terrified me, and to this day it still makes me feel uneasy when I watch it, just because of certain things that happen in the film. Again, the Georgie scene. By the way, Georgie, the little boy I talked about, is the younger brother of the main character, I would argue, Bill, who kind of ends up becoming the leader of the kids' group called the Losers Club. And that's kind of his big motivation. The other kids want to help out Bill trying to confront this clown, by the way. It's one of the big pushes for their storyline. But I love the movie. I think it's fantastic. There's not a whole lot of gore to it. There's a lot of things that I wouldn't even argue are jump scares. A lot of people would say it's just like things happening here and there. I would argue against that. I think all of the setups for the scares are genuine. I think they're paced well. I think the whole miniseries is paced well. I love it. I think it is one of the best Stephen King adaptations, even if it's not completely loyal to the book, and yet I adore it. I think everything about it brings back so many nostalgic feelings towards me, so many fears that I had when I was a kid. Again, I love it more than the book. I think it has so much more going for it. I think the music and everything else helps especially. I don't really have a favorite character aside from Ben Hanscom, especially when he's a little boy. I think the little boy who played Ben here, especially also the little boy who played Bill here, I think they're both incredible. I think they kill their roles easily. And you can have so many fun jokes in here, like the humor works so much better here, I think, than in the remakes. I love it. It's so good. I don't know. I love all the things that are in this movie. I could watch it all the time, seriously. It's just something so great to watch on a rainy day, especially because there's a lot of rain and a lot of dealing with rain and like kind of this overcast weather type of stuff going on during the film itself. And it feels so weird watching this on a rainy day. Seriously, take a day where it's raining outside and sit down with your loved ones and watch it, and you'll get this weird feeling about the movie. It's just this weird atmosphere that creeps you out. It's just eerie. I love it so much. I don't care if it's longer than most movies. It deserves to be. And again, Tim Curry, easily my favorite Pennywise. I love Bill Skarsgård's Pennywise. It's actually more like the one from the book. But this Pennywise, Tim Curry kills it for me. He is so great. One of my favorite actors of all time. But here, man, he's an icon here, easily. When it comes to Stephen King's It, if I had to rate this film on a 5-star basis, it ain't perfect, man. It's got a lot of bad mistakes. A lot of really stupid things. Especially, like I said, the finale is really hokey and really dumb looking. But I genuinely love this movie. If you're a 90s kid and you haven't seen it all the way through, if it scared you a lot when you were a kid, I sincerely recommend watching it. I think it's better than the book. I think you might as well just skip the book, but the book is good. If you want to try there first and then come to this, or if you want to watch this first and maybe it'll intrigue you enough to make you want to read the book too, I think this has so much more going for it than the remakes. I don't understand what the big appeal is with the remakes, aside from Pennywise played by Bill Skarsgård, which is great. Best thing about those movies. But yeah, 4 out of 5 stars coming from me, because it's great. It's a high 4 out of 5 too. I would almost give it a 5 out of 5, but again, it's got some flaws. Some flaws that I think are pretty drastic, like the finale, you know. But it's great. I love the cast. I think Annette O'Toole is really good here as the adult Beverly. It's just great. One of the most well-cast movies I've ever seen in my life, and I stand by that. I don't care if it's just a TV movie, you know. They really cared, I think. I think Tommy Lee Wallace really put a lot of heart and soul into making this good, and especially the fact that it feels so much like the book in formatting for how we flash back and forth between the adults' lives and the kids' lives. There was clearly a lot of passion and care put into this project, and the fact that it has haunted people for as long as it has, I think speaks volumes about it. I don't think the remakes of it will ever do that. I think they're a product of their time, that people enjoy them because of their time. I think eventually people will look back and re-see the old film, this film, 1990s miniseries thing, and I think they'll realize how much they like this more. I just think they will. It's not a better made film than the remakes, but the remakes have so much CGI that you can't really enjoy the movies, in my opinion. This does not. This was a time before CGI was really a big thing, and it works wonderfully. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. 4 out of 5 stars for me. What are your thoughts on Stephen King's It, the miniseries, the book itself, the remakes? If you saw the new remake that came out this past weekend, I'd love to hear your thoughts on that too. I've already kind of just spoiled it for myself because I was curious about a lot of things. I am pissed off about some things, but I don't plan on seeing the remake sequel anytime soon. I saw the remake a couple of times, but whatever. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. May the Lord Jesus Christ bless you guys today, and goodbye.